So we're going to try and see if we can make an advent tree. I'll go through the steps. Hopefully it'll turn out all right. The legs are made out of 2 battens, 80 centimeters long, that need a right angle cutting at one end. Once you've created your diagonal on your leg, you take another batten that is 120 in length. You place one on the other, making sure that they're together. And then to know where to drill this, I've created myself a little jig, but basically you want to draw a right angle at the apex of the diagonal, and then it's 16 mil down. So making sure that that is in the correct place. Put that on my drill here. You can use, of course, a power drill. I've just got this set up for here. Once you've drilled those, you want to get a bolt that is 4 mil in diameter and a wing nut to make your legs. And then the other needs to be the other way around. Once you've got your legs, we put a couple of screw eyes in either side, and these are used by tent pegs to keep your tree secure in the ground. So one on either side. Great, so now we have 2 legs. Okay, so now we're going to put the advent tree together. So here are my legs, making sure that the bolt is on the outside and the leg on the inside, and then we get the angle right. I've already made this little jig up, which makes it a lot easier for me, and I would recommend, if you're making several, to think about doing something like this. But on the instructions you'll have all of the dimensions, and it's just a matter of making sure that both are at the same angle. I've put a line down the middle so that I know exactly where the middle is. And then we've got the 5 pieces of featherboard that go on, again measurements exactly where are on the instructions. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more at the top for the star. Oh, yep, I've put those in wrong. Just realised these are upside down. If I did these as they were, when I opened it, it would open incorrectly. So, right, put these legs in. So it's going to be that way. Good job I didn't bolt all of those. So the idea is that when you open the leg, it goes that way. And I had it, and it wouldn't have moved because of this bit. Okay, so here we go now. So making sure that these, again, using your eye to make sure that they are in the right place. Featherboard isn't always at correct right angles, so you're using your eye. We're screwing them straight in and putting the letters on afterwards. So just to help, use a little bit of wood. Make sure that you're screwing them in to the outside. So this is going to go there, and I'm just going to screw that in if I make sure my drill is going the right way. Okay. This is the one that you have to to give more stability. This will stop the frame from moving. Okay, good. As you can see, I am not an expert carpenter, I'm just enthusiastic. Okay. And then I'll come up to the other end to do the last couple. So the camera might not follow me correctly. Let's hope. So now we have an advent tree. So we have the advent tree, here we are, and so if we then put the legs, they come out that way and that way, which is much better design than last year because they'll go flat and they should be a lot more easy to store. Now all we've got to do is to put on the letters. Just a quick word about the letters. We have a supplier who laser cuts the letters for us out of MDF. Problem with MDF is it's not durable unless it's sealed well for outside use. And so we've been advised to use masonry paint, 2 good coats of masonry paint, either using a roller or a brush, and making sure that you get all of the edges to make sure that they are going to last for many years outside. So this is probably the most time-consuming part of the job, so I would order these early and get them ready before you make your advent trees. Okay, so now I'm going to glue the letters. I've kept it in my jig just to make it easier. Let me give you just a couple of tips as you lay them out. I basically use my eye by making sure the star is in the center at that top, the O is right in the center, and the A is right in the center. The other thing to watch out for are the E's. The E's are slightly, they're not as wide at the top as they are at the bottom. And so if you put them upside down, you really can notice them. And then you just make sure these distances are as equal as possible. And then I just literally turn them over and glue them. The glue that we recommend is Fix-All. It bonds in about 20 minutes, and we've found this has worked really well for outdoor use. So that's what we would recommend. So I'll get glue in. I get the letters so that they hang over about the equal distance on both sides, and then I just press them down. Okay. Now I'm noticing straight away that this wood has got a bow in it, and so what I may have to do is put them in, put a clamp on it in a moment. So right, we are at the end of the glue. I'll come back. Okay, we're back again, fresh glue, seeing if I can catch up. As you can see, all the letters are slightly moved, but that's just see if I can get these glued as quickly as possible. Good. Now, because that wood is so warped on this occasion, I'm going to get another one, put over the top, and then I'm going to clamp it. while that is clamping at the other end, let's see if we can get this sorted. And there we have an advent tree. So we're going to make the legs for the QR code. So first of all, we're going to do the right angles that we need to cut on both of two of the legs. So okay, so now we have got those. This is where we are now going to drill them, and to find our hole, I've already got a jig that I've created, but basically you would go at right angles to the corner of the diagonal. There you draw a line, and then you want it at 16 mil. This is 18 mil, because this is 36 mil across, so you want it halfway point. So if I put that in there, hopefully that will give me a halfway point. So that should be halfway for me to drill, and then I want to do the same on this one. So we're using a 4 mil drill bit. Okay, then we take a bolt and we want it to go that way through from the one that is not at a right angle at the top. That one goes through to the other, and then we want to wing nut on the other side. And then we're doing the same here this time, so we want them to be opposite way rounds. And then, so that these can be secured into the ground, we put an eyelet on either side. Then we're going to use the 4 wing nuts. So now we have our 2 legs and we're ready to put our QR code. So what that means is that we want to make sure that we put the QR code onto this bit so that the leg goes that way. And so that is going to be on the outside there, and then this one is going to be opposite. So when you put it on and you move it out. Okay, so, and then the distance from the bottom to there is going to be 30 centimeters. So I just measure 30 centimeters and we're going to connect it to the outside of the leg. That's already marked at 30. Okay, so So there we have it. Now we have our QR code, which we can put next door to our tree. Hi, so I want to show you how to make a jig. This jig here is what helped us to make Advent trees quicker last year. And so I'm going to measure up the board in front of me, and we're going to make a jig so that you can make them quicker. First of all, we need a batten at the bottom of our board. This board is just over 120 centimeters high and 80 wide, and we're going to put a batten at the bottom. But I just want to take a few minutes to get all of the bits that I need. So I need to cut a piece of board for the bottom, and then, as you can see from our jig here, we have pieces that go across here, and I'm just going to cut those now. Now I'm going to measure. I've already marked a line in the very center, and now I'm going to measure up. So the first measurement is 20 centimeters where the bottom featherboard bit will go, and then the featherboard is separated by 8 centimeters. Once you've measured your board, the next thing we're going to do is to put some supports in so that when we place the legs in, they're always in the right place. Here are a couple of legs. Just takes a couple of minutes to make sure you've got them the right way around. So you then make sure that you line them up with exactly the middle line that you've already marked, and then we're going to make them about 1/2 centimeter from the end of the wood on either side. 1/2 centimeter there. Great. To support them, I'm just using some small pieces of batten. When you screw them in, make sure they're not too tight. Give yourself a couple of mil either side, otherwise you find that the wood isn't always exactly straight, and if you do them too tight, the next pieces that you put in won't fit. So give yourself a little bit of space. Great, so now that I've secured the legs, so the legs are now in position, I am able to place some pieces to be able to support the featherboard. So that goes to support the first one, which is going to go across here. And the best way I've found to support these pieces of wood here is to make sure that I glue them. And so I'm going to glue those just to support everyone. Once you've glued all the blocks, you need to leave it for 20 minutes to dry, and then we'll come back and finish it off. So now 20 minutes has gone and now these are dry. You can then just mark up where the featherboards are going to go. So I've marked the center of each featherboard. So I just use my center line, put it against my piece of wood that I've glued in. So I line each one up by eye. We're not trying to get it perfect. That's the uniqueness about the trees. So I'm just going to try and put that there. And then we mark a pencil line at each one, or a felt tip. I've actually used a black felt tip. Found it easier to see just for quickly placing them all in the right places. And there you have it. You've got your jig, which makes it a lot quicker to be able to make your advent trees. From there, I would secure them. I'd then put my letters on and you're ready for the next one.